read about on the back of your program, and one in October. And that'll be it. So invite your friends and family if you want to see the last couple of concerts in the series. For donations today, so the concerts are always free for people to attend. There is no obligation to make a donation, but if you wish to, there are some options. There's a basket in the back. You can scan the QR code in the program, or if you're in the live stream, there's a link that you can follow to make a donation. Today, the donations will split halfway, so 50% will go to me, and 50% will go to Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders, I think, is a central organization doing really important work. I can think of few things that are just more important globally for, just everyone's health and safety. So I think this organization, it's a very large organization, but I think they do really important work in various places around the world. If you do make a digital donation, either by QR code or through the program or through the link in the video description, please make sure to say MQJ or concert or something to indicate for our finance committee so that they know that the donations are for the concert and not general donations to the church. Leading off of that, a huge thank you to Rio Rancho Presbyterian Church for allowing me to host my concert series here, providing the infrastructure for donations and everything. It's much appreciated, and without their support, concert series wouldn't be happening. So thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna sit down, talk a little bit about the program. So today the program is all music by composers from video games. This is an area that is close to me, I think, because when I was a young lad, I did not practice what I was supposed to practice. I only practiced my video game music that I really wanted to play. Much to my teacher's annoyance, but I think it kept me motivated to keep going because I had something that I really wanted to do. And I see that with my own students sometimes where, you know, they may not necessarily practice all of their exercises and their scales, but if there's a piece of music from a TV show or a movie or a video game or something that they want to do, then, or a popular artist they know, this gives them motivation to keep working so that they can get to the point where they can play what they want to play. I want to also just comment generally about the layout of the program here. It's a little different than you might have seen before. So none of this music is originally composed for the piano. Most of it is composed for various systems. Now, in the modern day, a lot of music for video games is composed either sort of in a MIDI environment with electronic sounds, or it's done with full orchestra. But historically, this was not the case. A lot of composers were limited by the hardware of the systems that they were making music for, right? If you're a composer for a Super Nintendo game, then you're limited by the hardware of the Super Nintendo. And you can't put more, let's say, voices or tracks into your music than what is allotted by the hardware of the system. In early days, this was very narrow, maybe 3 to 4 channels, period. So they were very limited in terms of how many channels of simultaneous sound could happen and what kind of sounds those hardware chips were capable of producing. So you see a lot of very interesting innovation and creativity that's bred by these restrictions. And so there's some really cool techniques pioneered by early video game composers that carries through in the industry for a long time to help sort of overcome hardware limitations. A lot of what's on here is music that was composed in a bit more of a modern era, and so a lot of it was composed basically for orchestra or for various ensembles. I'll talk a little bit about each one when I get there, sort of what the setup is. Let me begin with this first selection. So these selections are from Hollow Knight, which is a great game, and it has a fabulous composer, Christopher Larkin. Really a special talent, I think. This was his first game, and the soundtrack is really just all the way across very impressive. He uses a lot of motivic techniques. A composer that he reminds me of a lot is actually Wagner. Wagner uses what's called the leitmotif, which is sort of like a little segment of music that is to represent something in the story. A character, in Tristan and Isolde, there's the love theme, so you hear the strain, you know, oh, this is the love theme that, of Tristan and Isolde. So he's very good at sort of using these little leitmotifs and then kind of interweaving them into the music and creating connection across multiple pieces within the overall set of music. It's really cool. So you hear a little bit of that in this. Now, the composers, because this stuff is arranged for piano, what you will see to the side of each individual piece, this is the arranger. So a lot of these came from the internet, and we have thanks to people who just do this for fun as a hobby, who make arrangements, and then people have access to it on the piano. So the composers for the works are below where it says selections. So Christopher Larkin is the composer here. But then to the side, Stowe and Safo these are the arrangers of the piano versions. So I'm going to go ahead and play these 4 pieces. Let's just go ahead and wait until the end for applause. Selections from Hollow Knight. Okay, so the next pieces on the program are from the game Cuphead with the composer Christopher Madigan. I apologize, could not find his date of birth. I looked all over the internet, couldn't find it. Found his website, found his bio, didn't have his date of birth. So, but he is a living composer, still alive. This game is mostly a series of what we would call boss fights, basically like your character plays against something large and then you go on to the next one. And it's kind of a series of those. And the kind of titular idea of this game here is that they wanted to recreate a style of early 1920s and 30s cartoons. So it's all hand-drawn animation in this classic style, which is very interesting. It's very visually appealing. And then to go along with that, they kind of set music that would also match stylistically with this era of animation. And so what we have here is pieces ranged for big band. So you've got kind of traditional drum set, rhythm section type thing, also horns, saxophones. I would think not small combo, but a little bit larger size. You think more like backup for Frank Sinatra kind of size of band, 15 to 20 members or so. So that's sort of what this music is originally arranged for, and then here I'll be playing some piano. So I'll play you 3 different pieces. The first one, Inkwell Isle 3, this is overworld music from when you're traveling around in the over part of the game before you go into each individual level, let's say. Then Funhouse Fever, this is a fun little carnival piece. It's from a running level where you basically just are trying to rush to the end as quick as you can, and it's carnival funhouse themed. And then the last one, Botanic Panic, is from one of these boss fights. This is against a gigantic flower, and it transforms in different phases, turns into a potato, and yeah, so fun stuff. We'll play these 3, and then again, we'll hold applause until the end. Okay, the next piece on the program is the Tetris Variations. So this is a very famous game, one of the most famous games in the world, Tetris. Now, I didn't list the composer of this because the tune is actually a Russian folk tune, and it doesn't have attribution of an author. There's lots of references to it, publishers, poets, and things like this, but the original composer is not known of this folk tune. But it was melody used for the original Tetris game, and then what I'll be playing today is an arrangement that's in a set of variations, kind of in a sort of like a classical Mendelssohn kind of style of variations. And one thing I really like about this set of variations is that in the game of Tetris, I don't know how many people are familiar, but there are blocks falling from the sky, and your job is to arrange them into neat little rows so that they all connect with no gaps. And you don't get to decide what block you get a different shape of block, and then you have to kind of turn it and fit it together in a way that works. And as you go from level to level, the speed of the game gets faster and faster. And so the music gets faster and faster. So you'll see a little bit of that here going on with these variations as it sort of builds and builds with each one. made a little cut at the end. The variation goes on for another 2 minutes. All right. So now we come to some music that's some of my first favorite composers of video game music, Jeremy Soule. What I'll be playing is 3 kind of main title themes here. This is a series of games. Morrowind is 3, Reign of the Septims, or Oblivion is the other title, 4, and Skyrim 5. So 3, 4, and 5 of the series of games. And you will hear the motive from the first piece recur in a new way in the next one, and then recur again in another yet a new way in the one after that. So they've taken this theme and developed it over the course of various pieces. So I will again play these 3, and then we'll hold for applause at the end. All right. So next we come to another very famous series of games, Legend of Zelda. I'm going to be playing from a few different games. So the first two listed, Gerudo Valley, Milk Bar Stride. These are from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, some early 2000s. Ocarina of Time came out in 1999 and Majora's Mask in 2001. So wee baby Nathan. And these two pieces are composed by legendary composer Koji Kondo. I cannot even just begin to say enough things about this guy. He has composed every famous Nintendo theme you've ever heard. Also the Mario World, which is at the very end of the program, he is also the composer of this music as well. Now the Breath of the Wild medley, which will come after the first two, This is different composers. So these other three composers listed, Manaka Yasukai and Hajime, they worked together on this score. Now this was a very large production of a score. It had a huge orchestra, I think over 80 members in that orchestra for the recording. So what I'll be playing here is a medley. It's kind of a reduction down of various little themes and parts from the game. I chose it because I thought, one, the music is very pretty. The style is a little bit more, I don't want to say modernist, it's minimalist, I think. If you are familiar at all with the composer Philip Glass, there's a lot of similarities, I think, to Philip Glass's music here in The Breath of the Wild. So that one, different composers, but I just wanted to draw attention there. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play these three Zelda pieces. I'll take a break, and then we'll end with the Super Mario World theme. All right, so the final piece on the program is the Super Mario World ending theme. Another very famous theme by the composer Koji Kondo. I think I mentioned this earlier. Yeah, so this comes at the credits, the roll credits for the end of Super Mario World, which we're going to roll credits here for this concert in a moment. Now, I want to make a brief mention of this. So the first time I heard this arrangement, this is a ragtime arrangement of the ending, and it's quite a showstopper. It's really over the top, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But the first time I heard it, it was performed by a pianist named Tom Breer. Tom Breer is a well-known ragtime performer and composer. He's written whole albums of ragtime music. And really, for young Nathan, he was a big inspiration of, I hope I can play like that guy one day. Tom Breer was in a terrible automobile accident in 2019, and he received serious brain damage. So he can't speak very well, and he's unable to play anymore, but he still composes. He goes through music therapy, and he's still able to dictate chords and melodies and things. So even though he has a lot of struggles, he can't really speak, conversate normally anymore, he's still able to find something with this music. So this performance for Tom, I hope he's doing okay, and yeah, thank you for the inspiration. thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed the concert. If you wish, you can leave a donation in the basket or scan the QR code. If you're in the live stream, you can click the link. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Make a disc? Well, the recording is going to be up on the internet. It is. So, yeah. Huh? Yeah. I mean, most of it I got from, people who recorded on YouTube, so, yeah. Huh?